How's it going, guys? Working on this probably for the last time this year. Have a show tomorrow, believe it or not. And just giving it a basic cleaning, nothing too crazy. Just looking things over too. Next weekend it goes into storage, next Sunday, so one more week with the car. So I pulled off the scoop, looking around, making sure everything's good with the carburetors, nothing's leaking. Just gonna give everything a basic clean and a wipe down, and we'll go to the show tomorrow morning. So that's it, guys. Yeah, so clean it a little. Scoop look different? I think it does. Look at the shine. Working on this side. I'm not sure what paint we're going to use on Junior's car. The engine compartment's going to be single stage. The car is going to be two stage. That I know. Right now, the car is sitting at white. The original white, which is Alpine white. And we'll decide from there. He would like to do the car red, white, and blue. But I told him that could be a later thing. Even though if I did it red, white, and blue, I'd probably do the car in pieces. Just put this place is just a little too tight. The length is okay, the width is just too narrow for me to do that. It's gonna be a problem. See, I was fortunate with this car because the roof breaks up in different areas. Junior's car, the roof comes right into the quarter panel. That's a problem. So that means the ass of the car and the roof all have to be sprayed, and if you're going to spray all that, you're going to spray the rest of the car. If there's one thing I know about white, there's a million different shades. I remember my buddy, this is back, and we're going back to the day, bought a brand new truck, and he bought one of those things that used to go up on the bed rails and over to make it look like the cab was longer. Now we're going back into the 80s. And he got the paint by the paint code. The truck was only like a month old. Shot it and landed with a couple of fisheyes on it, but it was an exact match. So he stripped it all down, reshot it, laid out absolutely mint, but it was a different shade from the same can. So, like I said to Junior, if we go white, I gotta do it all in one shot. So I'm gonna need a hand in here doing that. But like I said, we'll decide. We'll definitely decide. We got time. We got a long ways. I want to get the car in here next Sunday. And not on Sunday, but throughout the week, we're going to get situated to go. First thing I'm going to have him do is warm up the wood tone and start peeling that off. And I'd like to do the driver's side first. But I'm still waiting on an answer back from these people with the fender that I purchased on the shipping. So that's going to hold it all up because I want to make sure that the fender is the correct shape, or the door is the correct shape to the fender. Because if you remember, the door's a dent here. To me, it looks like the door's the correct shape. But if it needs to be tweaked, I'll want to tweak it now. And if we did it that way, that'll allow Junior to do the body work on the door while I'm doing the fabrication on the fender with the headlight. Where the headlight bucket goes for the headlight door to mount. So, and that's the extent of the major stuff on the driver's side. Is working on that door, working on the fender. The rest of it's a sand down. And then the passenger side, then we have to fabricate a little corner for the door, a little area for the door, small. And then that little area in the back, which I'll probably stretch all the way out and make sure there's no signs of anything before we, I'm not going to weld the crappy metal. I'll have crappy metal there. I'll make the patch as big as needed, if not more. So I'd like to do that side second. The driver's side will get me back into the bodywork phase, and the passenger side will get me back into making the patch panels. And I got Junior. He had bought one of these. I don't know if you guys can see the pinning that's down it. And the piece is dull. 78 is a 1 year only. The hoods that I found out this hood fits 78 and all the way to the end of the Eagles. Even if they did put a different design in the center, the hood stamping is the same with this notch. for the one rectangular headlight. They just make, if you ever look at the Eagles, the trim gets fat right here to cover over this. And if you look at it just right, you could even see the notch out without even opening the hood. So this one is kind of, there you go, there's a good side of it. He had bought one, it's in pretty much the same condition. So I found one on eBay, an NOS one. So he claims there's a tiny bit of shelf wear, and he photographed the whole thing for me, and I just saw one little like tiny nick on it, and that was it. The rest of it looks like a mirror. You know, it was taken out of the wrapper for the pictures. So I figure if he's going to go through all that trouble doing that hood, he might as well have a nice lip on it. So yeah, I got him that. I'm waiting on that, and I guess that's going to be it. Tomorrow morning we head off to the Mopar show for the grand finale, or the finale Mopar show, whatever you want to word it. Did it last year, if you remember. Santa Claus was walking around. But it should be fun. And of course, just clean enough for it. And it's supposed to be 45 degrees, and we still got no windows. That's a definite thing to be worked on over the winter. Not pretty much working on it, getting the parts finally. I'm going to get the weather strip gasket for the one. The gasket for the vent windows mint, where it overlays on the door, was trimmed to get rid of the jagged edge. And when you put it on, you could see down in here. That's why it's never been on. But to show you the difference between owning a Chevy and owning a Rambler, by the time I get the two vent window gaskets, by the time I get the run channels for the glass to ride in, and by the time I get the door seals, it's like $900 or something like that, as opposed to spending a couple $100, you know what I mean, through a catalog for a GM car. So my main concern is the vent window, and obviously the run channel. The regulators, everything are in. Oh, and I'm sorry, and the window fuzzies. That brings it up to like $900. I got no window fuzzies in these doors, as you could see. But like I said, my main concern right now is the gasket. And they don't sell just one gasket, but it's the vent window gaskets and the run channel, so I get the glass back in here so I can roll up the windows. And I'll get the window fuzzies and the gaskets for around the door as time go on. And we'll work on it from there. So, but what I was going to say is, when we get the car in here, I want to jack up the car and slide the motor under there and just see what is going to be in the way with leaving those headers on. What can I get away with? And basically how we're going to do it is, we're going to be hooking it to the lift, the front of his car, through those two bolts that we talked about before. We're going to go from the idler arm bolt on this side with a grade 8 bolt, and the Pitman arm, or the steering box bolt on this side. And we're going to come right up to the actual lift itself, and we're going to winch the car straight up so we can roll the motor under the front. And I want to see if I can get it in, see if the head is clear. See, like, these headers clear my steering and below the steering. His should be close, so it should be similar. It's not the same car. Now this car here, the headers could be left on, and you could put the motor in and out the bottom, no problem. His car, I'm not 100% sure, and I'd like to know. Like this car here, as you put the motor in from the bottom, you'd have to jockey it over to get around the shifter linkage, which, as you could see, is a 1/4 of an inch away from the valve cover and could never be used, because they never had a V8 in this year. So his car is designed for a V8, so his might not be in the way of the valve cover. But I would like to see, because I'd like to leave this header on, because this head is a pain in the ass because of the dipstick tube. The flange goes behind the dipstick tube, and that means as you're trying to fish it in, there's a chance you could break off the dipstick tube. So I'd like to at least leave this header on and do it. So we're going to test that while the engine compartment's bare, and then the motor will be out of here, and then we'll continue on. What's another decal? So I found these. Someone's making these. One's been going for years. The other one left recently. You could see there's not even any dirt in it. It was probably stuck to my hand today, and I didn't notice it. So a lot of times I'll lean on here when I'm doing the valve covers. So, oh, And just to say it again, I took the numbers off the scoop. In case anybody didn't notice that. I didn't care for the numbers. They were starting to look a little crappy. They're looking raggy. They looked a little, just didn't like them. I wanted them to look like it just came from someone's house and they were put on there like that. And the 290 was the designation of the engine that you would have basically raced back in the day when this thing would have been a gasser. That's why it always said 290. So, but I took them off. I had enough. And I cleaned the scoop. So, okay guys. That's enough chit chat. I'll put this video up, and tomorrow I'll put a video up of the show. And then we'll be out here working. So, that's it guys.